Here are all of Asta's forms in Black Clover. From a powerless kid with no magic to his strongest anti-magic transformation, we can start at the beginning, with Asta's most basic form. Asta wasn't born with magic, in a world where your entire future was decided by your mana. He had absolutely zero. And so instead of learning magic, Asta spent years building the one thing that would eventually make his greatest weakness his biggest advantage. He trained and pushed his body beyond its limits, where even David Goggins became jealous. After the Grimoire acceptance ceremony, Asta received the legendary 5-leaf Clover Grimoire, along with the Demon Slayer sword and a massive anti-magic weapon that could erase magic itself. The funny part was probably almost nobody could even lift that thing. The sword was simply too large and too heavy for ordinary mages. But thanks to years of relentless physical training, Asta swung it like it was a normal blade. That combination of overwhelming strength and anti-magic quickly earned him a place in the Black Bulls under Captain Yami. During his earliest missions, Asta proved just how broken anti-magic really was when he basically cut through spells that would have overwhelmed almost any other magic knight. This version laid the foundation for everything that's gonna come right now after. Then came Black Asta, the transformation that completely changed how Asta fought. But hidden inside this transformation was the biggest hint about Asta's future, and almost nobody noticed it. The form first appeared during his battle against Ladros in the Witch's Forest. At this point, Asta was completely outmatched. Ladros had the ability to absorb and fire back enormous amounts of magic, meaning every attack against him only made him stronger. Defeat seemed inevitable. Then, something inside Asta's 5-leaf Clover Grimoire awakened. The anti-magic power sleeping within began overflowing. Dark energy covered his body. A black wing appeared behind him, a horn grew from his head. And this wasn't just a visual upgrade, Black Asta completely changed the way he fought. Before this, Asta's entire fighting style revolved around charging straight at his opponents. But with the Black Asta form, he could fly. His strength, speed, and anti-magic all increased dramatically, turning him into a threat from every direction. Ladros became the first person to experience this new version. At first, Asta could only access this form during moments of extreme desperation, but as he trained, Black Asta became a reliable weapon that he could activate whenever he needed it. Looking back, this transformation revealed Asta's connection to devils long before anyone else understood what was really hiding inside his grimoire. It was the first major step toward the Devil Union forms that would come later. Berserk Black Asta isn't exactly a completely new transformation, technically speaking. It's what happens when Asta loses control over his Black Asta state and allows anti-magic to run wild. And this was the first time Asta's greatest strength revealed its biggest weakness. The form first appeared during his battle against Dante Zagratis of the Dark Triad. Even with Black Asta, he was completely outmatched. Dante continued drawing on more of Lucifero's power and overwhelming strength, with regeneration made it clear that Asta needed more power. But instead of gaining a stronger version of Black Asta through control, Asta's anti-magic began overflowing. His transformation became unstable, covering more of his body and pushing him into a far more feral state. This was the version fans often called Berserk Black Asta. Unlike normal Asta, who fights with determination and strategy, this state was driven almost entirely by instinct. His movements became more aggressive, his attacks became more reckless, and he focused purely on overwhelming his opponent with anti-magic. And the power increase was undeniable. His anti-magic output increased enough for him to pressure Dante and land attacks that could bypass his regeneration. For a moment, the fight stopped feeling like a battle between a magic knight and a member of the Dark Triad, and became a clash between two beings using powers that shouldn't exist. But the danger of this form wasn't just its power, it was the fact that Asta wasn't fully in control. Berserk Black Asta showed that anti-magic wasn't simply a weapon Asta could rely on whenever he needed it. Without control, his greatest advantage could become also a liability. Devil Union, partial. Asta's fourth form changes everything, because for the first time his power doesn't come from desperation, it comes from trust. Until now, every major power-up happened when Asta was pushed to his absolute limit. A new ability would appear because he had no other option. But Devil Union is different. It begins with Liebe. After finally meeting the devil inside his grimoire, Asta learns the truth behind his anti-magic. Instead of trying to dominate Liebe like a weapon, Asta chooses to make an equal contract with him. Through their partnership, Asta unlocks the partial Devil Union. For the first time, Asta and Liebe aren't fighting as host and devil, they're fighting as equals. The transformation itself reflects that perfectly. One side still carries Asta's human appearance, while the other shows Liebe's devil-like features. It doesn't look like Asta is being consumed by a devil, it looks like two different beings fighting toward the same goal. And the power increase is enormous. His speed, strength, and anti-magic all reach another level, giving him complete control over a power he had previously only borrowed. This is the point where Asta stops looking like someone who's simply surviving through anti-magic, and starts looking like someone who has truly made that power his own. But the form still has a limit. Partial devil union can only be maintained for 5 minutes. The bond between Asta and Liebe is real, but their synchronization is still incomplete. When the time limit expires, the union collapses, proving they still have a long way to go before reaching their full potential. And this partnership was only the beginning. True devil union. But even after everything you've seen so far, Asta still hasn't reached the form that makes him a nightmare for every devil in existence. And finally, we arrive at what many fans consider Asta's masterpiece, true devil union. By this point, the Clover Kingdom is on the verge of collapse. Lucifero, the king of devils, has partially manifested into the human world. And even in that incomplete state, he's on an entirely different level from everyone else. His gravity magic is so overwhelming that simply standing near him becomes a challenge. The Magic Knight captains throw everything they have at him, yet Meraleona, Figelion, Nozel, Charlotte, and Jack barely manage to slow him down. Calling it a fight is honestly being generous. Then Asta shows up. After fully synchronizing with Liebe, the two stop fighting as partners and become one through true devil union. This isn't just a stronger version of partial devil union, it's complete synchronization. Their anti-magic becomes far more efficient, allowing Asta to draw out more power while maintaining far better control over it. Every swing carries enough anti-magic to cut through attacks and opponents that were previously untouchable. Visually, it's also one of the best transformations in modern shonen. His body's covered with intricate markings, both wings fully manifest, and for the first time, Asta actually looks like someone capable of standing toe-to-toe with the King of Devils. And unlike everyone before him, he actually does. Asta slices straight through Lucifero's seemingly untouchable body, proving that his anti-magic has reached a level capable of cutting even the strongest devil alive. Turns out, built different was an understatement. The form still has a time limit, but during those few minutes, Asta becomes one of the most dangerous fighters in the entire series. The manga panel of this moment is unforgettable. It's one of those pages you immediately flip back to because your brain refuses to believe what I just saw. True Devil Union is a payoff to everything Black Clover had been building since chapter 1. A boy born without a single drop of magic finally reaches a point where he can stand against the King of Devils himself. You'd think after reaching a form powerful enough to challenge the King of Devils, there'd be nowhere left to go. Somehow Asta still found a way to evolve. This is Asta's 6th form, Devil Union Plus. This one's a little different. Some fans don't even consider it a brand new transformation. Instead, it's an upgrade to true Devil Union. While that form was all about overwhelming power, this one is about precision, control, and mastery. After being defeated by Lucius and teleported away by the mind control sister Lily, Asta washes up in the land of the sun, where he's rescued by the shogun Ryuya Ryodo. This kingdom doesn't rely on grimoires. Instead, it follows a completely different philosophy of combat. Under Ryuya's guidance, and alongside the Ryuzen 7, Asta learns a technique called Zetten. Think of it as taking all of his power and compressing it into a single perfectly timed strike. Turns out, screaming louder wasn't the final training method at all. Instead of flooding the battlefield with anti-magic, Asta can now concentrate it into one precise moment of impact. Rather than covering a wide area, he channels all that power into the exact point where his sword connects. The result is less wasted energy, far more control, and attacks that hit much more harder. Zetten also works hand in hand with his ki sensing, allowing Asta to read opponents' movements, pick the perfect opening, and deliver that concentrated burst exactly when it matters most. And the results speak for themselves. His attacks became cleaner and more efficient, and far deadlier. Combined with his refined control over Yoryoku, Asta wastes far less energy while hitting even harder. Now finally we arrive at what is arguably Asta's ultimate form. And this final evolution answers one question fans had been asking for years. What if Asta wasn't the only one who could use anti-magic? Anti-magic ultimate output. Some fans even debate whether this form is a true transformation or simply the highest application of his abilities. Either way, it's the most complete version we've ever seen yet. Introduced in the final chapters of the manga, this is the culmination of everything he's fought, trained, and sacrificed for. But what makes this form so incredible isn't just how much stronger Asta becomes, it's the fact that he can finally share anti-magic with others. Imagine being the villain who finally figures out how to deal with Asta, and then his entire squad starts using anti-magic too. For the first time, Asta can grant his allies the very power that once made him an outcast. Instead of being the only person capable of nullifying magic, he turns his entire team into anti-magic users while they continue fighting with their own unique abilities. That's an absurd jump in utility. Maintaining this level of output while synchronizing with Liebe and combining it with Zetin represents the absolute peak of everything Asta has learned. Rather than simply becoming stronger himself, he's now empowering everyone around him. Many fans also mention Wizard King Asta as his final form. Technically, that's not a transformation, that's just a job title. But from a storytelling perspective, it represents the final stage of Asta's journey. And while Asta became the Wizard King he wanted to be, how do you think the Wizard King Asta ranks compared to the other Magic Knights at the end of Black Clover?